In the plush leather armchair, billionaire Arthur Vance sat with his eyes closed, breathing steady. To anyone watching, he appeared to be asleep, but his mind was sharply alert. Too many times, greed had infiltrated his home. Tonight, he wanted to see for himself. Arthur listened to every sound, his heart heavy with suspicion. Would this young girl, innocent-looking and from a humble background, succumb to temptation like the others? Or would she prove to be different? This is not just a story about wealth and power. It's a story about innocence, trust, betrayal, and the unexpected ways life teaches us what truly matters. The tall windows of the study in his Aspen estate let in streaks of the late afternoon sun, casting golden lines across the polished wooden floor. The room was a fortress of wealth, mahogany shelves lined with leather-bound books, rare art adorning the walls, and on one side, a massive safe built into the stone. Arthur Vance was no ordinary man. At 62, he was a titan of the tech industry, a name synonymous with innovation in Forbes magazine covers. But beneath the layers of success, his heart was scarred. A bitter divorce had left him isolated. Years of betrayal by business partners and so-called friends had hardened him. Thieves had stolen from him, trusted employees, even distant relatives. All of it had cemented one unshakable rule: trust no one. That was why he sat in his grand leather chair that day, eyes closed, pretending to sleep. By his side, the steel safe stood wide open, spilling bundles of crisp $100 bills. The money wasn't there by accident. He had scattered it deliberately, like bait in a trap. He wanted to test someone. In the quiet of the room, a young girl's footsteps echoed softly. Her name was Lily, the 10-year-old daughter of his housekeeper, Isabel. She had wide, curious eyes and had followed her mother to work during her school break. While Isabel polished silver in the kitchen, Lily wandered into the study, as she often did. Today, she froze. Her gaze landed on the open safe. Piles of money, more than she had ever seen, lay scattered and untidy. Arthur, behind his shut eyelids, listened. This is it, he thought. This is the moment they reveal their true nature. Even a child cannot resist. He held his breath, waiting for the sound of little hands snatching the money. Instead, he heard something else. The soft shuffle of feet, the sound of paper being touched, not rustled greedily, but carefully, slowly. He cracked one eye open just a slit, and what he saw made his throat tighten. Lily wasn't stuffing money into her pockets. She was kneeling before the safe, her small hands gathering the scattered bills neatly, stacking them into proper piles. She smoothed them down carefully, the way she had seen her mother fold linens. Her lips moved as she worked, she was humming a soft, innocent tune. When the last pile was stacked, Lily sat back on her heels, smiling faintly. Then she whispered aloud, "Mom always says, what isn't yours, you leave be. Mr. Vance worked hard for this. I'll help him keep it tidy." Arthur's chest tightened painfully. He shut his eyes quickly as she stood up and brushed off her jeans. Isabel entered the study to dust the shelves, but the sight stopped her cold. Lily was on her knees before the open safe. "Lily." Isabel's voice cracked like a whip, trembling with fear. She rushed forward. "What are you doing?" Lily jumped, startled, her eyes flashing with guilt, not for stealing, but for being somewhere she knew she shouldn't be. "Mom," she whispered. "I wasn't taking it. I was just arranging it. It looked messy." Isabel's heart pounded. She bent down, quickly gathering the money from her daughter's hands and stacking it back inside the safe, her fingers trembling. "Hush," she said in a low, urgent voice. "Don't ever come in here again. Do you hear me? This is not our place. This is not our money." "But Mom." "Lily, no." Isabel's eyes glistened with tears. She pulled her daughter into her arms. "Promise me. Promise me you will never touch what doesn't belong to you." Lily nodded quietly, whispering, "I promise, Mom." Satisfied, though still shaken, Isabel closed the safe gently. She took Lily's hand, and together they left the study. Neither knew that from the shadow of his chair, Arthur Vance had watched everything. He had seen the girl's innocence, the mother's fear, her urgency, her discipline. What struck him most were her words, "This is not our place. This is not our money." When the door closed, Arthur leaned back, exhaling slowly. Integrity, he muttered to himself. Discipline, even in hardship. That evening, when Isabel received her pay, the amount was almost double her usual salary. She stared at the envelope. "Sir, there must be a mistake," she said, holding it out. Arthur smiled faintly, his sharp eyes softening. "No mistake, Isabel. You deserve it. For reasons you may not understand yet." Isabel blinked, confused, but bowed her head. "Thank you, sir. Thank you so much." But Arthur's curiosity only grew. Who was this woman who raised a daughter with such discipline despite their struggles? He decided he would find out. That night, as Isabel lay on the small bed she shared with Lily in their quarters above the garage, memories flooded her. She had been just 17 when she found out she was pregnant. The boy who had promised her everything denied it and disappeared. Her strict, religious parents had told her she was no longer their daughter. With nowhere to go, she worked odd jobs, scrubbing floors and waiting tables just to afford food. When Lily was born, she held her tightly, whispering through tears, "You are all I have, and I will raise you with truth, even if the world rejects us." That vow became her compass. Life had never stopped testing her, but through a cleaning agency, she had found work at Arthur Vance's estate. For the first time, she could breathe. Weeks later, Arthur's niece, Chloe Vance, arrived from New York to spend the summer. She was 23, spoiled, sharp-tongued, and beautiful. At first, Chloe seemed uninterested in the staff. But soon, things began to change. It started with missing items, a silver bracelet, then an expensive scarf. Next, cash disappeared from a drawer. Each time, Chloe raised her voice in dramatic outrage. "Arthur, you cannot trust these people," she cried one morning, storming into the study. "I swear your housekeeper and her daughter are stealing from you. Who else could it be? I saw the girl near the safe the other day." Arthur's heart skipped. The memory of Lily arranging the money returned to him. He had seen her innocence. Yet here was his niece, confident and insistent. "You are mistaken, Chloe," he said firmly. "Isabel and Lily would never." "Oh, don't be so naive, Arthur," Chloe snapped. "This is what they do. Pretend to be loyal, then rob you blind. Open your eyes." Her words stabbed at his heart. He wanted to defend them, but old scars whispered doubts into his ear. That night, Arthur sat alone, staring at the safe, his jaw clenched. Was I wrong to trust them? Was I blinded by a moment of innocence? Meanwhile, Isabel sat on the edge of her bed, worry etched on her face. Lily looked up at her. "Mom, why are you sad?" Isabel forced a smile. "Nothing, my child. Sometimes life tests us. But we must never stop holding on to what is right." Lily leaned against her. "You always say the truth will protect us." Isabel kissed her forehead. "Yes, my daughter. It always will." She didn't know that at that very moment, Chloe Vance was plotting her next move. The morning sun spilled across the marble halls, but its warmth did little to soften the chill of suspicion. Later that evening, Chloe stood before the mirror in her guest room, holding a velvet box containing a diamond necklace Arthur had given her. A mischievous smile curved her lips. She slipped into the servants' quarters and tucked the necklace deep inside Lily's backpack. 2 days later, Chloe stormed into the study, feigning panic. "Arthur! My diamond necklace is gone. I swear it's been stolen." Her voice drew the staff into the room. Isabel and Lily stood at the doorway, confused. Chloe spun on them. Check their things. That's where you'll find it. Isabel gasped. God forbid, Miss Chloe, we have never. Save your lies. Chloe cut her off sharply. I saw the little one near my room. She's learning from you. Tears filled Isabel's eyes. Lily clutched her mother's hand, trembling. At Chloe's insistence, Lily's backpack was brought forward. When it was unzipped, gasps filled the room. There, at the bottom, lay the diamond necklace. No, Isabel whispered, falling to her knees. I swear, sir. I don't know how it got there. Chloe smirked faintly. You see, Arthur. I warned you. Arthur's hands trembled as he picked up the necklace. His eyes darted between the terrified housekeeper, the sobbing child, and his niece's accusing glare. Lily's small voice broke the silence. Mr. Arthur, I didn't take it. Mom says stealing is evil. Please believe me. Her voice cracked. Arthur's chest constricted. He remembered her arranging the money. Could that have been an act? For 2 days, the house remained tense. But Arthur couldn't rest. Something nagged at him. He ordered a quiet review of the security system. Cameras in the main corridor had captured faint movements. When the footage was brought to him, Arthur's eyes widened. There was Chloe, slipping into the servants' quarters with a small velvet box in her hand. That evening, he called everyone into the study. Chloe sat with a smug expression. Isabel stood silently, her hands clasped, Lily clinging to her side. Arthur rose slowly, holding the necklace. Chloe, he said quietly, do you know what betrays a liar? He pressed a button, and the security footage played on the screen. Chloe's face drained of color. Isabel gasped, covering her mouth. Lily blinked in confusion. Arthur turned to his niece, his voice trembling with fury. You, my own flesh and blood. You planted this. You tried to destroy the only people who have shown me true honesty in this house. His voice boomed. You have shamed this family. Chloe stammered, but the evidence was undeniable. She fled the room, humiliated. Arthur turned to Isabel and Lily, his eyes heavy with guilt. I doubted you, he whispered. Even after what I saw, I let suspicion cloud my heart. Forgive me. Isabel's eyes filled with tears. Sir, we forgive. We understand that pain makes the heart cautious. But the truth always speaks. Lily stepped forward, her voice soft but steady. Mr. Arthur, Mom says even when people don't trust us, we must still do what is right. That's how your heart stays clean. Arthur's throat tightened. He bent down, placing a hand gently on the girl's shoulder. Your mother raised you well, Lily. And because of you, I have learned that trust should not be built on wealth, blood, or appearances, but on character. He turned to Isabel. From this day forward, you are more than my employee. You are family. And your daughter, he smiled faintly, is my greatest teacher. Isabel wept openly, pulling Lily into her arms. For the first time in years, Arthur Vance felt his heart lighten. The scars of betrayal were still there, but now a new truth grew within him. Honesty knows no class, no status. It can be found in the most unexpected places, even in the small, innocent hands of a housekeeper's child. The departure of Chloe Vance was as swift as it was silent. A black town car arrived within the hour, and she was gone, leaving behind a void filled not with loss, but with a palpable sense of relief. The great house, which had felt so cold and suspicious, seemed to breathe again. In the weeks that followed, a subtle but profound transformation took root. Arthur Vance, once a specter haunting his own mansion, began to emerge. He started taking his meals not alone in the formal dining room under the glare of a crystal chandelier, but at the warm, worn table in the kitchen nook where Isabel and Lily usually ate. At first, the meals were quiet, punctuated by the clinking of cutlery. But slowly, conversation bloomed. Lily, her initial shyness melting away under Arthur's gentle, patient gaze, would chatter about her school lessons, her friends, the books she was reading. Arthur found himself listening, truly listening, not to find hidden motives but to understand the simple, honest world of a child. He learned about Isabel's dream of one day taking a proper vacation to see the ocean, a sight neither she nor Lily had ever witnessed. One afternoon, Arthur didn't just listen, he acted. "Get your jackets," he said, a rare, genuine smile touching his lips. He drove them not in his chauffeured limousine, but in his own sturdy sedan, to a quiet, rocky cove a few hours away. The moment Lily saw the vast, roaring expanse of the Pacific, her eyes widened with awe. She ran towards the waves, her laughter carried away by the wind. Isabel stood beside Arthur, tears of joy streaming down her face, not saying a word. The salt air felt like a baptism, washing away the last residues of the past's bitterness. Arthur's generosity was no longer a test or a payment, it was an extension of care. He ensured Lily had everything she needed for school, not as lavish gifts that would create distance, but as practical tools, a new backpack, a set of good encyclopedias, a sturdy bicycle to ride on the estate grounds. He helped Isabel enroll in online business management courses, recognizing a sharp, untapped intellect in the woman who ran his home with such effortless efficiency. Their relationship deepened into a quiet, mutual respect. He was no longer Sir or Mr. Vance to Lily, but Uncle Arthur, a title he cherished more than any business accolade. Isabel became his most trusted confidant, the one person he knew saw him, not his wealth. The true turning point came on a crisp autumn evening. They were in the study, the same room where the entire drama had begun. A fire crackled in the hearth, casting dancing shadows on the bookshelves. Lily was curled in an armchair, now her chair, doing homework. Isabel was mending a tear in a cushion. Arthur watched them, a profound sense of peace settling over him. He walked to his desk, picked up a thick, legal-looking envelope, and brought it over to Isabel. "Isabel," he began, his voice steady but soft. "This house has been a fortress of solitude for too long. You and Lily have filled it with a light I didn't know was missing." Isabel looked up, her needle stilled. "Arthur, what is this?" "It's a proposal," he said, placing the envelope in her hands. "I've had my lawyers draw up papers. I want to formally adopt Lily as my ward, ensuring her future education and well-being are legally protected. And for you," he paused, meeting her gaze, "a partnership. Not as a housekeeper, but as the manager of this estate and a junior partner in my charitable foundation. I've seen your mind, your integrity. It's a terrible waste for you to just dust my shelves." Isabel's hands trembled as she opened the envelope. The documents outlined full tuition for Lily through university, a significant ownership stake in a trust, and a new, dignified role for her. It wasn't charity, it was recognition. It was family. Tears welled in her eyes, but this time, they were not tears of fear or sorrow. They were tears of overwhelming gratitude and validation. "Arthur, I don't know what to say." Lily had looked up from her book, sensing the importance of the moment. She went to her mother's side and took her hand. "Say yes, Mom," Lily whispered, her wise eyes shifting from her mother to Uncle Arthur. "He needs us." Arthur chuckled, a warm, rich sound that had become more frequent. "She's right, you know." "I do." Isabel looked from her daughter's hopeful face to the earnest, kind eyes of the man who had once tested them with an open safe. She saw a future she had never dared to dream of, a future of security, respect, and love. "Yes," she said, her voice firm and clear. "Yes, we would be honored." Years later, the Vance estate was known not for its imposing wealth, but for the warmth that emanated from within. Lily Vance, raised with her mother's unwavering integrity and her adopted uncle's expansive sense of possibility, graduated at the top of her class. She went on to study law, with a focus on advocacy for children and families, inspired by the second chance she had been given. Arthur, his hair now fully silver, found a new purpose in his later years, guided by Isabel's practical compassion. Together, they channeled his fortune into building libraries and community centers, ensuring that the lesson learned from a little girl's honesty would ripple outward, touching countless lives. The safe in the study remained, but it was no longer a trap for testing character. It was simply a place to keep important things. The real treasure of the house was no longer locked away, it was lived every day in the shared meals, the easy laughter, and the unshakable trust that had been earned not by blood, but by the simple, profound choice to do what was right. The fortress had finally become a home.